Daniel Pedalino, Pedalino. I wanted to come and speak to you guys again in regards to bullying. I feel that the efforts of looking through the windshield rather than the rearview mirror has proven futile. The few previous times I've addressed the board. On 2 occasions, I've optimistically presented the simplest no-cost proposals to gauge a willingness to serve the students and parents who've been elected to serve, a bullying prevention poster contest, and a link to report bullying on the school board website. I proposed more efforts celebrating good teachers, something to celebrate each week, etc. I said, let's learn and build from the successes of our highly graded school and local private schools, but reluctantly, I now have to present some things from the rearview mirror. Please don't misinterpret my haste. Last time I got the 1-minute sign from you, Mr. James, so I'm going to make sure I try to get to everything on here. I had heard you speak of transparency during the same campaign where you violated numerous bullying and harassment policy definitions with the Hindu Jain website and mailers. This is the same policy that this community has voted and trusted you to enforce, which really makes about as much sense as Mr. Tomlin's recent quote in the Ocala Star Banner, where he said he believes our school district is in good shape. I invite you to substantiate that statement, Mr. Superintendent, or why you do not think a parent outreach committee would be beneficial. I have nearly 50 permissioned testimonies, examples, emails, documented to support why parents, some in attendance this evening, strongly believe this parent relationship needs to be better and is necessary, as well as a more lucid, interactive, proactive school system in regards to parent concerns. Involved, concerned, and frustrated parents are growing by the day, as demonstrated by the 1,600 students kept home for fear of their safety on February 1st. I have a couple of emails. I'm not going to read the entire emails because there's something I'd like to get to, but I do have one from January 13th here from a parent. I will try to get to the. She requested any and all documents pertaining to the multiple bullying packets that were supposedly completed by Mrs. Tucker, witness statements, and written pertaining to any and all incidents that included her son, copy of all policies and procedures that were used by any staff, including when investigations were done, concluded, and punishments were or not handed down. She was very cordial. Thank you in advance for your help in this matter. I'm not trying to cause any problems for anyone. I just want my children, all of them, to feel safe and protected at school and to be able to learn at school instead of having to look over their shoulder and what might happen next. She did tell me she got an email back from the superintendent's secretary. He asked her to email me back. It said the school was already addressing my issues of concern. I was never followed up with. It was swept under the rug. This parent, a few days later, posted, Maplewood Elementary should have listened. I told you my son had had enough. You needed to do something about the bullying. Now, instead, since you failed, you showed my son and everyone else that it's okay to bully and nothing would be done. My son decided to stand up for himself. She had told her son to go to school and hit back. But I believe that could have been actually, it says right here exactly. It says, I would not punish him or tell him he did anything wrong, when in the end, this could have been prevented had you done your job in the first place. 1 minute, okay. Let's move on to something. I have I'll try to summarize here. I have another parent email here whose son has ulcer. Scared to go back to school. They suspended the child for 3 days for what they had done to him, but then when she corresponded with them, they responded by saying the alleged bullying incident that my dean addressed, blah, blah, blah. She responded, the word alleged raised an important question. Are you stating that what occurred when the boy did what he did, was suspended for 3 days, his mother adamantly apologized to me, is considered as alleged bullying? There is no question that his actions violate more than one of the 11 definitions of the Marion bullying and harassment policy. This is considered alleged bullying. Okay, so there's a child that is scared to go to school because of an ulcer. Okay, I would like to add, why are we scanned with a metal detector prior to coming in here? Okay, Lake County doesn't have this precaution. Okay, at their school board meetings. On December 9th, I attended a legislative delegation at Sumter College. Senators, House representatives, there were no metal detectors there. Who could possibly be driven to the point to want to harm the people that have been elected to trust and cultivate our most valuable resource, our children? Does the metal detector make you guys feel safe? Okay. I also have here your strategic plan for 2015,
your time is up.
2020. Excuse me?
Your
Okay.
time is up.
Okay, well, goal one is to support safe, secure, and respectful schools. Keeping our students safe is job number one. Okay? It appears that the staffs are being kept safe with the metal detector, but keeping our children safe, number one, I believe, is up for debate. And on page 3, goal number 4 says improve the quality, integrity, and delivery of the communications. And if emails are not being responded to, I don't believe that goal number 4 is being addressed as well. Okay? Would anybody like to?
You could have a seat.
Have anything to say?
Have something to say.
Mr. James, I'd like to say one thing. I certainly agree with you on the metal detectors. I do believe that there was a school board in Pensacola that there was an injury because someone slipped a weapon in. But honestly, I've even gone in and told the gentleman, you can scan me. I feel that if you're scanned, I should be scanned. Because just because we might have someone come into the audience, we could have a wackadoodle elected official also. I believe we shall be scanned, and I will stand there in front of his wand at my next board meeting and pretend I'm being scanned if he won't scan me, because I feel what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Thank you for bringing that to my attention.
And I agree, and I believe accountability should be spread all the way around.
I think it's good for one, it's good for everyone. If it's good for my constituents, then I need to have myself wand. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Ms. Boynton.
I'd just like to say before you sit down, sir, you read 2 emails, and it alleged that there were some incidents that happened that either you're saying the board didn't respond to, or either the superintendent and his staff didn't respond to. I would like for you to share those emails with the superintendent, if I may, with Mr. Villanello, so that we can make sure that even at this point in time, that information can be responded to. I think it's important that if you bring information to us and you're alleging that some bullying went down, that we have the right to investigate it. I think it's critical. I don't believe that any child should be bullied. And so if you would put that information in our hands so that we can respond to it and so that our staff can look into it, because we do hold bullying it's really a critical situation, and we do have a lot of, during the month of, Mr. Villanello, can you repeat? October. We do have some things going on in our schools, addressing bullying. And so it is not something that this board sits and just says, we heard you and don't want to address it. We would like to have the information. And sometimes the information may not be disseminated well to us, or we may even have our attorney respond to it. But we do need to have that information.
I'll be more than happy to forward those. I specifically selected those 2 emails because I do know that the school board member and the superintendent had been copied on those. So that's why I specifically picked those 2. But I'll be more than happy to re-forward them to them. I do have their permission.
Well, just if you would provide it to Mr. Villanello, Mr. Villanello, would you let him recognize who you are, please? If you could provide it to him, and then he can get that information to the board, so that it can be properly responded to.
Okay. And
You have anything?
No, I don't. I just want to make sure that those people who are emailing you have worked with the principal and the administrators in those schools before they send these emails to you. And
I don't mean to cut you off, Ms. Ely. Those emails were not sent to me. Those emails were sent to the school, and then
Sorry, okay.
copies of those were sent
And
to
I'm
me.
just wondering what-
After the parents reached the point of frustration of telling their kid to go to school and punch a kid back, or the lady that has to take her child to the pediatrician because he has ulcers because he's scared to go to school.
and hopefully they've contacted the school administration.
Yes, the principals, the teachers, the superintendent, and I believe the school board members. I don't want to say who they are here, but I believe the school board members were copied on both of them. I know that the superintendent was, and I know they were addressed to the teacher, the principal, perhaps the dean, something to that effect. So that was why I picked those. I mean, I have 50 of these things. I mean, people, and a lot of it is this and that, but I know that the email is for the public record, and it seems that we'll tell parents one thing, but we're reluctant to put anything in writing back to the parents. And I believe that if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, and smells like a duck, it's a duck.
This is James, and I thank the gentleman for speaking tonight, but I resent some of those comments because I have no factual data from which to operate from right now. We have to be very cautious as a public and also as a board as we listen to accusations that have, to our knowledge, no fact to them. This gentleman mentioned so many different things, it was all over the map. I don't know where to begin, but I'd be more than happy, as you've all suggested, to work with him should we have an opportunity to address a single issue and address it appropriately, and we will do that.
With all due respect, Mr. Thomas, and when I have dealt with Mr. Vianello, he's extremely responsive, immediately responsive, as helpful as he could possibly be. But I'm not sure that I've seen responses from you, Mr. James, in regards to these things. So I will follow what Ms. Boynton asked me to do, and I'll send them to Mr. Vianello. But I would like to see someone besides Mr. Vianello working so hard for these students that are victims that are falling through the cracks.
Mr. I admire your respect for Mr. Villanella, but that is the position that he has. And if you would do that, Mr. Villanella will get that information, and he will make sure that we as a board are informed, as well as he will inform the superintendent. And sometimes when you get the information, and you may not have all of the information. So that's why I'm asking you to give us an opportunity to see what you have.
Sure.
So that we as a board, we're about protecting our students.
Well, and Ms. Boynton, when I spoke here the first time, you engaged very much, you seemed very interested in trying to do your best rather than just saying, go away, your 5 minutes is through. So I appreciate your willingness, and I truly do believe that your heart is in the right place in regards to this.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, let me remind the board of something now. I know that when we hear, and I just want to address some of these issues while we're here, like scanning of people coming into the to the boardroom. Folks, you all are aware of what is happening in this country. We know that every person that visits one of our schools is properly checked in. So we know this. So this is not anything foreign. When I hear these things, when we look at people that's coming into our buildings, and we check every person that come into our school system, they either have a card on, they have a badge on, and we check them and we know who they are. So we cannot say that when we look at ourselves, we are in a bottle and nothing will happen here. There is a possibility, and will say that things do occur. I've heard a lot today. One of the things that I have asked the board at our last staffing meeting, in order for us to be productive, we have to know where information comes from. And this is what we talked about at our last staffing plan. And again, I'm running into it again tonight. When I get people that come in and they tell us this is what we're doing, and I know Mr. Villanella worked really hard on this. And this is where, if information comes to me, it will go to Mr. Villanella. And he have a very good record of usually working things out or finding out what the issues are. Okay. Thank you. Brenda, go
for the
ahead.
long way round, the one with the prettiest of views. got mountains, it's got rivers, it's got sights that make you shiver. But it sure would be prettier with you when I'm gone.